باركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العظيم. يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. صدق الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. ما خاب من تمسك بكم سادتي وأمنا يا من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز يا والله فوزا عظيما. Altogether, Assalamu ala al-Hussein wa ala Ali ibn وعلى أولاد وعلى أصحاب الحسين خصوصا سيدي ومولاي قمر بني هاشم كفيل الهواشم أبا الفضل العباس عليه السلام. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we conclude our second half of the holy month of Ramadan series on the pertinent and valuable lessons and gems from the life and legacy of the Imams of Ahlul-bayt, one common but very useful reminder and reflection is to always realize that the Ahlul-bayt are exactly and perfectly built for all of us. They are for all of us. The Imams do not discriminate between male or female, age, race. They are examples of the Almighty's indiscriminatory love and rahmah. For they are the Almighty's hujjaj upon us today. Whether we came and benefited from, inshallah, the life and legacy of our Amir, or his children, or his holy father-in-law, Rasulullah, peace and blessings be upon them altogether, one helpful reflection is to know that they lived your life, and you, to a glimpse, lived their life. And they are near to you, and you are near to them. And the biggest proof of that is that they left you an imam. The imam of your time is observant, is watching you, is aware of your decisions, knows that you are not making a decision except that it is with him in mind and Allah in mind as well. Because we know very clearly that we must, and it's an obligation, to know the imam of our time, to realize and acknowledge his presence and the importance he has in each and every one of our lives. Be you Sunni or Shia, you accept and acknowledge that يأتي زمان على أمتي القابض على دينه كالقابض على جمرة من نار. That there will come that time upon the ummah of Rasulullah. If you call yourself the ummah of Rasulullah, then the following applies to you. Holding on to your faith will be almost like holding on to a hot red ember and coal. It's difficult, and I admit it, and I'm among you. I see you, and I'm with you, and I see the problems as well. From the temptations and the distractions and the wrong messages that are spewed on a daily basis, an agenda out there to push forth degeneracy, the kind of culture that is counter-Islamic to the highest degree. And it's not going to cost a trip to the Middle East to find safety. What you think over there, it's Jannatul Firdaus? No, honestly not. Nor is it going to cost a trip back home. We have to come and shield ourselves. And wherever you're allowed to pray, call that your house. أينما وضعت سجادتي, according to one of the ulama, فَتِلْكَ وَطَنِي. Wherever my sajjada is allowed to be placed, and I'm given permission to pray, and I'm allowed, recognized legally what I am doing is okay, then call that my place. But we have a responsibility upon ourselves, upon our children, a responsibility Allah will ask me and you on the Day of Judgment. Maybe you did your part, but you can't just have kids and ignore them like that. Allah will ask me. Allah sa'iluni. Allah will ask you, that grandchild of yours, what, you think it was just okay, dandy, nice, just to have him go mix with people you don't know? Can you name 5 of their best friends? Because the friends are more influential than the family, by the way. Are we able to come forth with good answers, yes or not? At the end of the day, we all go through these struggles. We all go through these obstacles, and we all go through these pitfalls. But that's dunya. That's al-dunya daniya. It's not Jannah. We didn't sign up for it. But when we're here, let's proceed forward and do the best we can and put our best foot forward. One of the best ways to do so is to always recognize that the Ahlul-bayt are the arm and the extension of the rahmah of Allah, and they have your back. If you need an If you need a helping hand, just grab on. It's not that you need to ask for a hand. Their hand's already out. Their hand is already there. You just need to put the effort and grab it. You just need to say, I believe, I can trust you. I have my life in your hands. I have full tawakkul. It's like that business deal. I can't attend, but my future is dependent on it. I need someone to represent me in the best way possible, and my motives, and my intentions, and my endeavors. Imagine you send the best of your employees, the greatest to execute, the one who has brought the best profit and margin. Then you can relax fully, because you know that I'm in their hands. You need to do that with Allah. It's from the names of Allah, Al-Wakil. Wakala means I have put my full trust in you. Why? I may not be able to control the future, but I know you can. You remember the message Sayyid al-Shuhada, salawatullahi alayhi, sends to the people of Kufa. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. By dispatching the letter, he said, I am going to send to you who? Inni qad ba'athtu lakum akhi wa ibn ammi. But he adds at the end, wa thiqati min ahla bayti. The most trustworthy, and my brother and my cousin, Muslim ibn Aqil ibn Abi Talib. Ridwanullahi alayh. Sayyid al-Shuhada doesn't need to worry anymore, because I know I can trust you. Can I say the same to the Imam of my time? Can he trust me? Is he able to say, I have followers, obedient, لأمر مولاه, مطيع لله, ولرسوله, ولأمير المؤمنين? Can I be that for the Imam of my time, whereby I know I'm in good hands with him, but he's also in good hands with me? Such that the man, when he comes to the 6th Imam, and he asks him, Ya ibn Rasulillah, I know the hadith, by the way, is ijma', that كانت الناس تدخل مسجد الكوفة فيرون 4,000 رجلا من شيخ وكبير وصغير كلهم يقولون حدثني جعفر بن Muhammad. People would enter Masjid al-Kufa and they would see 4,000 scholars from the old and the young, all of them saying, I was taught by Ja'far ibn Muhammad. One of them is Malik ibn Anas, the other one of them is Abu Hanifa. All of them saying, he is my teacher. The man asks Imam al-Sadiq, where are you? You have 4,000. Yabna Rasulillah. You know where I'm going with this one. Oh, the son of the messenger of God. Hussein ibn Ali had 72. Rise! He had 72. You have 4,000 just right here, right now. Enough is that to rise against Banu Umayyah, rise against Al-Mansur. Where are you? To which the Imam said, are they all obedient to me like the 72 were? To which the man replied, of course. كلهم يقولون حدثني جعفر ibn Muhammad. They can parrot my words, but will they walk the walk instead of talk the talk? Then the man said, what do you mean? Show me your truth. He said, I will command you to do something if you claim to be Shia. There is that furnace right there with the flames igniting from the inside. Will you follow the order of jumping inside? Like, no, Ibn Rasulillah, where there? No, where? Heck no, that's dangerous. He says, I ordered you and you said no. Why don't you put trust in me? You haven't read the Quran when Allah made the fire bardan wa salama ala Ibrahim. You haven't read the Quran when Allah says that those whose sayyi'at can convert into the hasanat if they have full tawakkul ala Allah. Allah can convert the flame into something which is cool and easy. Just follow my order. To which the man said, that's something I can't fulfill. Until Hisham ibn al-Hakam, the other companions came through. And the Imam says, you jump inside. The first thing the man said was, sam'an wa ta'an. At your order and fulfilling your desire. Goes right inside the furnace. A moment later says, come outside. He comes and he was perfectly fine and salim. He says, if I had 72 like him, whatever I order, they fulfill. And they don't question me. Then I would have rised against Abu Ja'far al-Mansur al-Diwaniqi, Banu Umayyah's Khalifa. But alas, I have 4,000 like you. Just saying lip service, anything you need. The first thing I order, no Maulana, it's not right. How? I'll die. Follow. مُطِيعًا لِأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ. Following the orders of their leader. What do we say when we look at Maulana Aba al-Fadl alayhi salam in his ziyarah? I bear witness that you قَدْ أَطَعْتَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And I bear witness that you have fully obeyed Allah and His Messenger. And you have fulfilled your covenant to them and وَلِأَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ as well. Now I may not have access to Amir al-Mu'mineen, but I have access to his 12th generation grandson. Will he come and say, I need you? And I will say, not today. Is this the case? Why don't we consider something else? That is what the Imam wants. And one helpful reflection is to always know that the Imams are real humans. They're not an abstract idea. The Ahlul-bayt are not just concepts mythologically perfect as they are, but away from me. Ba'idun, far, such that I can't reach them and near. No, they are close to you. In fact, one of the best qualities that we can use to relate to our Ahlul Bayt is that they were always smiling and happy. Because that's the idea people have, unfortunately. That the Ahlul Bayt, unfortunately, are always this strict, computing set of rules. In reality, that was not them. They lived among the people. And they would brush the heads of people. And they would smile and even joke with the people. But oftentimes we've cocooned Ahlul Bayt to this abstract idea that they say, do this, if not you can burn in hell because here's a hadith I just narrated. That wasn't them. They are beacons of invaluable wisdom, but at the same time they are just like the Messenger of God. When Allah says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, that surely within the Messenger of God is a great example in you. Now I need his examples. You can even find his examples in the world of humor. Did you know that? Oftentimes when you display Rasulullah to the non-Muslim world, it's always that this is a messenger who fulfilled the last religion of God. He's the culmination of this. But did you ever realize that the Messenger of God is a real human being? Such that the people of Mecca would be dumbfounded. Mali هذا الرسول يأكل الطعام ويمشي في الأسواق. He's just like us. Because he is just like us. And they would say, why doesn't he send us an angel? Because he sent you something better. Muhammed ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Who sees your joys and he sympathizes with your sadness and by extension his Ahlul-bayt. I even recall one day an elderly lady came to the Messenger of God and she says, "Oh Messenger, I'm old and I feel my time is near. Make dua that I enter Jannah." What an honor. This would be common for the people who see their door to the Akhirah is about to open, whether they were ill or old. They would say, "Rasulullah, just pray. My time is running." And so Rasulullah looks at the old lady and he says, "I would make dua for you, but sadly, old women can't enter Jannah." And the lady began to become shocked and dumbfounded. "Ya Rasulullah, what's going on here? Did I do anything wrong?" Like, no. But old women can't enter Jannah. Like, "Ya Rasulullah, what's happening? How? What does Jannah have against old women? What's going on?" To which the Messenger said, "First you will become young and then you will enter Jannah." The Messenger of God took her from a shock to a moment where she was like, "Okay, I see what you're doing. Thank you, but maybe don't do that again. You turn young and then enter Jannah." And at that moment, the companions began to banter and laugh. And it was a moment where he lightened the mood. In addition, you find many cases similar to this, whereby the Messenger of God broke the scene by making a light-hearted comment and lifted the moods of those who were in times of stress. He saw that the lady was thinking of the Akhirah and was concerned. So the Messenger of God light-heartedly made her happy. Another lady came to the Messenger of God. She said to him, "Ya Rasulullah, I have a number of questions." Rasulullah says, "Before you ask, who's your husband?" She says, "It's Fulan, so and so." "Oh yeah, Fulan. He's the one that has white in his eyes." She said, "Does my husband have whiteness in his eyes? What's wrong with his eyes?" She says, "I don't know, maybe." Rasul says, yeah, it's him, right?" She said, yeah, that's him, that's his name. "But he has white in his eyes?" Rasul says, "Yes, he has white." She went home the next day. She saw her husband, and her husband was watching her, and she was just staring at his eyes. And he says, "What's going on? Why are you looking at me so weird?" She says, "I got back from the messenger, and he said, asking about you, you're the one with white in your eyes. I'm just looking, I can't see anything. There's no disease going on here." He says, "Rasulullah was playing around. Every human has white around their eyes. What's going on with you?" She's like, "Oh, that's the Messenger of God." Rasulullah says, "Inni la umazih." I do banter, but I don't say anything except it's haqq. So when he made that humorous comment, he was not lying at all. Everyone has white, and every elderly will become young. So none of his jokes, so to speak, were even lies, which gave us the principle of how to banter with one another. That when you make a comment, for the sake of humor, go right ahead. Al-mu'minu yadkhulu as-surura fi qalbi akhihi al-mu'min. That the believer enters the joy into the heart of the other fellow believer with a nice comment. But the comment can't be a lie, but the comment can't be profanity, and it can't be dirty. Besides these, go ahead and say whatever you like. Have a good time in befitting situations and scenarios. One day, a man by the name of An-Nu'ayman ibn Amr, he's a very well-known companion. An-Nu'ayman ibn Amr, he would not meet the Prophet unless he would crack a joke. Unless he would crack a joke. He was like the stand-up comedian of Mecca and Medina at the time. I guess they had one of those back then as well. And so Nu'ayman, he just enjoyed doing this. Whenever he sees Rasulullah, he makes a joke and a comment. One day, he comes forth and he says, "Oh Messenger of God, I'd like to gift," follow the word, gift. And it's a gift, not sell. "I'd like to gift you a jar of honey. Here you go." Rasulullah says, "Thank you. May Allah bless you." He takes the gift, and Nu'ayman goes like, "I'd like the value of it now, please." And so the Messenger, "But you said it's a gift." He's like, "Yeah, but I'd like the value of it." He's like, "That's not a gift, Habibi. That's you're making me a trade that I didn't sign up for. Here, take the honey back." He's like, No, it's a gift. Here you go." So this man would constantly joke with the Messenger of God. One day, and Nu'ayman ibn Amr and Abu Bakr and a third man went on a trip to go and trade. So this is during Medina's time. So they left Medina. As they left, in the outskirts of the city of Medina, and Nu'ayman, Abu Bakr, and the third man. This third guy was a chef. He would cook for them. They were the business partners, and he was the one that would have to cook for them, so they don't need to concern about food. He had the food with them, this third individual. That's how they would do things and trade in caravans. They would have one guy dedicated just for cooking, nothing to do with the profit of the business, and they would give him a sum. As they were going, Abu Bakr was the leader of this trip. These three, he was the head of them, so he called the final shots. Abu Bakr went to sleep. He went to sleep. Nu'ayman was awake, and he looks at the chef. And he's like, I'm hungry. Yeah, chef. He's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, make me food. He's like, technically, the leader is who of this little trip? Abu Bakr. I have to get his permission first. He says, let me try waking him up. He looks at him, and he's like, you're not the kind of guy I'd like to wake up. So he's like, oh, no, I'm not, chef, just make me something to eat. He's like, no, he's saying no to the wrong guy now. Because now Nu'ayman's going to pull a prank on him. So what does he do? He's like, you realize who you're saying no to, Mr. Chef. He's like, yeah, but I have to follow rules here. He's like, okay. Nu'ayman, in the middle of the night, he forms a diabolical plan. The Sahaba, I don't know, subhanAllah, you have the strange, the funny, the whatever. So he sees a caravan coming from Syria on their way. He rushes to them. Abu Bakr is sleeping and the chef is going to sleep. He says, caravan, will you buy a slave of mine? The chef is not a slave. He's like, I have a slave. Will you buy him? Guess what? He's a chef too. The caravan says, subhanAllah, a slave who knows how to cook well? He's like, yeah. And he knows how to read and he can write and he's a decent person. But I'm not interested in him. Will you buy him? They said, how much? He gave them a very small number. Like, this is a great deal. But he's like, there's only one condition. He will claim he's free, but he's actually not. So, deal or no deal? That's a great deal. Remember, what the condition is, he's going to claim he's a free man, but he's not. But trust me, he's actually our slave. Like, okay, where is he? He's like, he's that guy right there, next to the fire. The caravan comes, and they say, come with us. He's like, where are you going? He's like, you're our slave now. You were just sold to us. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm a free man. He's like, be quiet. He told us, your master, that you're going to say you're a free man. We know this trick. Come with us. The chef went with them, and he began to scream, Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Nu'ayman, help me. I'm not a slave. I'm a free man. And the caravan keeps saying what to him? We know that's what we were warned about you. You'll claim that you're free, but you're actually not. Come with us. Well, the screaming woke up Abu Bakr. He woke up. He's like, where's our chef? He's like, I sold him off as a slave. But he's not a slave. He's like, well, he's over there. He got on his horse and he ran to them. He's like, hey, stop. This is the case. He's not a slave. He's a real human that's fully free and there's no slavery to him. Give him back to us. They came back to Medina and Nu'ayman told the messenger of God, this is what happened. The messenger of God started to laugh. He's like, so you sold a man who was a free man as a slave, as just because he didn't want to make you some eggs or something like that? What happens when we get into a conflict with you? What will you decide to sell all of a sudden? So in that case, the messenger of God and the group of the companions began to banter at this moment and circumstance. One day, even with the members of Ahlul-bayt. This is a famous case, well known. You can find these, by the way, in the chapter called Muzahim al-Nabi, or the jokes of the messenger of God, in the book Ibn Shahr al-Shub's Manaqib al-Abi Talib, the chapter of the banter of the messenger of God. In there, the famous story, as you all know, very familiar. The messenger of God was sitting down in the company of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and they were both eating dates. And when the messenger of God would eat his date, he took his seed and put it on the plate of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen would take his date and put it on his own plate. So by the time the both of them finished, the messenger's plate was empty because he would put on the plate of Imam Amir, and Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen's plate had double the seeds. So the messenger of God looked at Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's like, Ya Ali, how much do you need to eat? You ate how many dates here? Jokingly. To which Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen replied, Ya Rasulullah, that's fine, but someone else was hungrier. He appears to have eaten the date with its seed here. Where is the seeds on your plate? And so these moments and these exchanges are lovely between the members of Ahlul-bayt. You see that they are entertaining the full scope of emotion, of mood, of feeling, when it was necessary, of course, only when it was befitting. And even This has transferred to the world of our scholars, brothers and sisters. And I say these why? Just to show you, look, the Messenger of God can joke around? La. It's because there are some mu'mineen today, wallah, you will never get a smile from them. I don't know. It always looks like he has a Fatiha on his mind. Always looks like, for example, he's getting sued. And there's just nothing's wrong with him, but it's just, bad mood. That's contagious. Scientifically, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. It's easier to smile, but ya ammi, it's hard to get him to smile. Why not? أولاً, first of all, al-ibtisama, smiling, is considered a sadaqah. Some of you are giving good sadaqah right now. Others are taking from the sadaqah for some reason. Another thing is not just sadaqah when smiling. There's a way to optimize this. So I don't know if you're ready to do this one though. Al-ibtisama fi wajhi akhika al-mu'min. When you smile at the face of your fellow mu'min brother or sister, you are getting sadaqah. So now we're going to do an experiment. Turn to your left or your right and say, I'm getting sadaqah by smiling right now. I'm getting sadaqah. I'm making money. Just trust. I'm getting rich. Don't be awkward. There are some people who still haven't done it. There are some people who are taking from the sadaqah box. I may smile. Why are you frowning? It's a sadaqah. It's happy. You're getting ajr. On the face of some person once said, I did this experiment. Like say, no, I would, but there are no mu'mineen to smile to. Smile, relax, brother. It's okay. Our ulama would be the best examples of this. Sometimes the impression is wrong. These ulama are stern, are firm. They don't smile. They're very like abrasive. They're stern in the sense where they just don't have it in them. La bil'akis. Don't let some photos, the odd photo where he's like very grumpy looking, misguide you. You go and see these scholars. They resemble the most peak and the most bliss and the most serene of the akhlaq of Ahlul-bayt. One day, and I'll show you how far it goes. The following story is relayed by one of my teachers from the house of Karbala to his teacher, Al-Muhaqqaq Damad, one of the great ulama from Qom, who says, the sanad is long, okay, so bear with me, that he heard this story from Ayatollah al-Sheikh al-Amuli, Hassan Zadeh al-Amuli, the great Arif. He says this story came from Agha Diya ad-Din al-Araqi. Agha Diya ad-Din said that when As-Sayyid Abu al-Hasan al-Asfahani, one of our grand maraja, before As-Sayyid Muhsin al-Hakim, he was the grand marja, Sayyid Abu al-Hasan al-Asfahani. Sayyid Abu al-Hasan, if you didn't know this by the way, Abu al-Hasan al-Asfahani, his son was killed, and in a very gruesome way. Marja, imagine, Marja al-Ta'ifa too, not just anyone. His son was slaughtered in the haram of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. There was a feud between one of the students who was not showing up to any of the classes of the Hawza. So for a time period, he wasn't showing up. In the Hawza seminary, you get a payment every other week, right? So reported came that he's not showing up, so why do you give him any more, right? He didn't like that, this student. You know what he did? He was wild, he was a maniac. He went and he spoke with the Sayyid's son. The Sayyid's son said, I'm sorry, you're technically not showing up to the classes. We won't pay you. I'll give you now, if you like. It seems like you're in trouble, but I can't give you unless you show up to the classes. It's been many weeks. He did not handle that, and so he began to fight. In the process, unfortunately, he pulled out a knife, slaughtered the Sayyid right then in the haram of Imam. Do you know when he did this? The 19th of the holy month of Ramadan as well. And so, Shaykh Agha al-Din al-Araqi, Diya al-Din al-Araqi says, in the Fatiha of Sayyid Abu al-Hasan's son, Sayyid Abu al-Hasan was not seen to smile at all. He was, of course, sad and distraught. At the funeral, I went and whispered something in his ear. Suddenly, he began to laugh. And so many people came and asked me, what was it you whispered in his ear that made him laugh at his son's funeral? What was it? He said, I tried to lighten his mood up a little bit. I said, Sayyidina, my condolences, but, congratulations to your son. Why? He was a mu'min. He died when? In Shahr Ramadan. When? On the 19th of the holy month of Ramadan. On both Laylat al-Qadr and on the day of the Darba of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. It's an honor. And when did he get buried? He got buried 3 days later. Exactly. So 2 days later, rather, on the 21st. So on exactly the day of the Shahada of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. And where was he buried? He was buried in the Haram as well. So his congratulations, Sayyidina. But that's how lucky you are. If it was my son, this is where he decides to be creative. Agha Ziauddin Iraqi. He's like, if it was my son, knowing my luck, he would have been killed on the 9th of Rabi' al-Awwal. What's the 9th of Rabi' al-Awwal? Huh? Farhat al-Zahra, and probably in the washroom. That was his words, excuse me. And there's 9th of Rabi' al-Awwal, or the day we celebrate the death of some particular individual, and that would have been my son coincided with him as well. Yalla Sayyidina, cheer up. If it was me, it would have been the other way around. The Sayyid began to giggle a little bit and laugh. I heard this following story from one of the scholars. As much as I asked him, can I please share your name? He's like, no, please, the story's too goofy. So he says that one day there was a son and his father. The son was not someone who prayed. La ilaha illallah. That alone is a tragedy. He didn't pray. This was in Baghdad, Iraq. His father was a well-known tribal leader. Do you know, if you're familiar with the culture, the tribes, Ru'us al-Ashair, it's a big deal. There's a massive system. So his son is a well-known, the father is a well-known tribal. The son does not pray. And so one day the man comes into his son on prayer time, and he looks at his son and he's like, what did I raise here? You don't pray, and there's so much on me to represent our tribe and our people. You're bringing shame to me. Go and pray. He kept yelling and yelling and yelling until the father fainted from his blood pressure, I guess. He fainted. The son, even though he's not practicing, still cares about his father. So he called out for the ambulance. He calls out for the medical experts. And in Iraq, then and now, technically, whenever there's a medical condition that can't be treated in the country, they send them to a number of places. One of them is either Lebanon to get treated. That's why some of our ulama, they might go to Lebanon to get treated. Or they go to India for treatment, and then they bring them back. Or, now towards the 90s, they go to either Germany. So they looked into it, they're like, his only treatment, it appeared that he had a stroke, can only be done and dealt with in Germany. But here's the thing, we can't send him by himself. Someone has to go with him. Does he have any other children besides you? He's like, no. So you're going to have to go with him. But you're the cause of him entering this comatose state. Make sure you go with him, but be gentle with him. Don't anger him any further. Okay? Okay. Father's in coma. They take the man where? To Germany. This Sheikh al-Ashira has never seen Germany, probably in TV, he hasn't even seen it. He goes from Baghdad, and he's in coma. And he's in one of the best German hospitals. What is he wearing? The medical robe, it's all white. Where is he seated? In a bed. The window glass is in front of him from the room. He's able to see the outside. What does he see? Green grass. Who does he see? Tall people, mashallah. What does he see? People walking dogs. Women don't wear hijab. Little by little, he wakes up. He looks at this. When you travel from Iraq, by the way, and you land in your transit in Turkey or elsewhere, or wherever else, Frankfurt, what's the first thing you sense? The fresh air, right? Sometimes he smells the fresh air. And he's looking out. Where does he think he is? He thinks he died and woke up. He sees people tall, walking their pets, no hijab, right? Every walk of life of people. And he's thinking he's in Jannah. So he turns to the left. But who does he see right next to him? His son that doesn't pray and doesn't. He's like, what brought you here? If it was as easy as not praying and you could still get into Jannah, I would have left a lot of that stuff. He's like, Dad, I'm sorry, you're not. You're in Germany, basically. You're in Frankfurt. The father was like, La ilaha illallah. Okay. Unfortunately, that's the case. There was, so I don't know if I should go on this. I'm on a roll, I don't know. There was a brother we know, who converted from being a non-Muslim, and he entered Islam. The first thing he wanted to do was begin reading the Holy Quran. He's like, but I want to read it from start to finish. We're like, okay. He reads Fatiha. What's after Fatiha? He has no clue. So he's like, this is the opening of the Quran. What's the next chapter called? The cow. So he's like, I want to read it. Let's go. He reads. 15 minutes later. He's like, are we done yet? He's like, no, this is still one chapter? Like, yeah. 15 minutes pass. We must be done now, right? No, we're not even halfway through. We're not even وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We're not even there yet. He keeps reading. A couple hours pass and we finish. And so one of the brothers says to him, to help him, he's like, instead of reading the Quran from beginning, let's go skip another chapter somewhere else, just to read some extra chapters, but we can finish them in one setting. He's like, which one? We just finished reading what? Baqarah. He's like, I suggest Surah Al-Fil. Surah Al-Fil, 5 ayat. He's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. He's like, why? He's like, if the cow was that big, I can't imagine the elephant, ya hammi. Habib, it's 5 ayat. Relax. In any case, there's going to be one more, then I'm done, by the way. You're like, say it's just cracking jokes. No. We're lighthearted. Eid is tomorrow, possibly, potentially. Khalas, just one last one and we're done. One man fights with his wife. The lady passes and enters Jannah. In Jannah, this is not a real story. In Jannah, at the gates of heaven, she sees the angel. And the angel says, welcome to heaven. But before you enter, you must spell any word correctly. She's like, any word? Yeah. And you can choose the word. She says, love. The angel says, before you enter, you must spell it. She says, Love. He says, welcome to Jannah. As she enters, she notices behind her the line of people about to enter. Behind her next, she sees her husband. So now she says to angel, if you don't mind, can I take it from here? He says, sure, no problem. She sees her husband. She says, welcome. He says, oh, what are you doing here? Jannah assigned me to be the gatekeeper. But before you enter, you must spell a word correctly. He's like, okay, what word? She said, kaleidoscope. That man took a long time before he managed to enter Jannah. The Holy Messenger of God, and I wrap up with this. The Quran says that وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, and that you are the most sublime in your khuluq. There's khalq, creation, which he is, but there's khuluq, his moral character. The messenger would be seen light-hearted, smiling. Be that messenger as well in the way where you smile and send the message, like the Holy Messenger of God did, when it's appropriate. And I'll tell you, the best time, most appropriate, are the days of Eid, I'yad, Eid al-Fitr. These are coming, brothers and sisters. Take advantage of them. Let bygones be bygones. For the sake of Eid, for the sake of the joy of knowing we just completed Shahr Ramadan. Allahu Akbar. We fulfilled Layal al-Qadr. Every night we all came here and recited Dua al-Iftitah. Be that way, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Be open, forgive one another, embrace the brotherhood and sisterhood of this community and every member of the community. Whether we agree, whether we disagree, say, I love you for the sake of Allah, because your Prophet is mine, and your Quran is mine, and your heart is mine as well. We only want to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let bygones be bygones, and even if we need to use the wasila of humor sometimes, the best time to do it are on these time periods. I ask you all to forgive us if we had done you wrong in any manner or shortcoming throughout this second half of the holy month of Ramadan. And let me be the first to congratulate you upon the completion of this holy month. A very early Eid Mubarak to all of you. You will hear the moon announcements tomorrow. Tonight, we're not going to hear it, by the way. Tomorrow, keep on the lookout. I'm sure Brother Mahmoud Dalla will be giving you guys the update. And I want to thank Muhammad al-Karim, of course. I want to thank you all. I want to thank, of course, my dear brother Musti here, my dear brother Abbas, Imran, Irfan, Kareem, all of you. Of course, wonderful shout out to our dear brother Shawqat and his father as well. And I can't just go through all of you because you're like, why'd you miss me? But I'll try my best, from our dear brother Radwan for his beautiful recitation to every single member that came forth and contributed on a daily basis. These are the unsung heroes. that help fulfill this program and foster it. And they don't look for public praise. I am the only one in the public right now, but there are people behind the scenes who work by setting up the food. Our wonderful chef, mashallah alayh. Okay, don't do what the other guys did to that chef and look to this one. We need this one to stay. Wonderful, great iftar. Every day he would help us and bless us with that. So thank you all. Keep them in your du'as and their marhumeen. Keep me and my father and my family, and we will remember yours all together, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma rabba shahri Ramadhan. الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامي هذا وفي كل عام واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام والحمد لله رب العالمين. Brothers and sisters, I was asked by a member of the community to recite Amma Yujibul Muttar, and I would like to fulfill that honor. They didn't tell me what the deal is, but I'm sure everyone's dealing with struggles and pain and sickness. So for their sake, if you allow us the next minute to recite this ayah of the Holy Quran 5 times, for the sake of this holy month that we've went through, and for the ajr to go to those who are struggling. We all have moments that we wish Allah will help us, inshallah, through this recitation all together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء اللهم اكشف السوء والبلاء عنا يا الله اللهم المرضى المنظورين شافي وعافهم يا الله اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم شافي مرضانا اقضي حوائجنا اقضي ديوننا اللهم ارزقنا زيارة الحسين في الدنيا وشفاعته في الآخرة إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء سيما من أوصانا بالدعاء رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.